Hey, Alderwood. We're Dana and Vivian Huff, and we're here with Paul and Liz Godwin, who are ministering to international students in this area, and we'd like to find out more about their ministry. So, Liz and Paul, hello, good morning. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Okay, we're doing great.
So we just wanted to describe what your ministry is.
We reach out to international students that come here to learn English or an advanced degree, and we try to reach them while they're here to share Jesus with them.
Okay, well, how did you get involved in missions in the first place?
I felt called to missions when I was 16. I heard a missionary in the Philippines speak, and I just knew right at that time that's what I wanted to do. And then that summer, when I was 18, I worked with Shuswap Indians in Canada. And then after I married Paul, I thought we'd probably go to a South American country because he learned Spanish in the military. But that's not what happened. God had other plans and eventually made them clear.
Yeah, that often happens. Paul, Did you have a similar feel of calling?
Well, not so much a sense of calling, but discipled to do that. As a teenager and a new follower of Jesus, I went door to door with others to invite to church, to hand a little tract with the good news in it and so on. And so this became sort of you could say, a lifestyle.
Okay.
Well, so what drew you to Japanese student ministry?
Well, interesting. God had the plan out there before we even knew it. So when Paul was in the military, he had to go to Japan for a couple weeks to drill with the Navy there. And then on our honeymoon, we stayed in a Japanese hotel, but we had no idea that that's God would be leading us. So later on, we were on the mission committee and I had an opportunity to host a Japanese student. And at that time, the company I was hosting for said, well, with our company, you could find host families and teach English. And so I thought, okay, I'll try it once. Once became quite a few years later. And after the first 3 years, it was like God was placing Japanese in front of me. And I kept hearing him say, who's going to take care of them if you don't? And I knew that the Mormons wanted to get them. So I thought I better do this.
Okay. And did other ministries, what did that develop into eventually?
So I ran homestay programs at our church for many years. And then out of the desire to have longer term with the students, because these were short-term programs, these were like a month long, and I wanted to have more time with the students in a month. And so then we started Talk Time and ran that for about 13 years at our church. And we did multiple trips to Japan. One of those trips to Japan led to the conference called Reaching Japanese for Christ, and that's become a huge network, and that's been happening for 21 years now. I worked as city director for ISI for about 5 years. What else? We moved to Japan for a couple of years to do returning ministry. So a lot of things just kind of kept developing. Oh, ICF, we started ICF in 2010, International Christian Fellowship.
Well, maybe you could give us a little more description of what these different ministries are. What does RJC do? What does ICF, International Christian Fellowship, look like?
RJC, Reaching Japanese for Christ, came out of our second trip to Japan. Where missionary wanted to network with people like us in the States working with Japanese. And RJC is to help network and train, encourage others working with Japanese, originally in this area in North America, and then it just sort of went, international. So now we have a network I wouldn't say worldwide, but we've got multiple countries that are involved with our network now.
Mhm.
Oh, great.
And ICF?
ICF is International Christian Fellowship. So that is a discovery Bible study for non-Christians, basically.
Okay. Um,
So what is your passion in ministry?
I love to see people who've never seen a Bible before, never heard about Jesus before, see who Jesus is in the Bible for the first time.
Yeah, that is exciting.
yeah. What do you feel like has been the most fulfilling part of your ministry?
I really enjoyed Japan. When we got there, within a month, we had our first returning party. We started a talk time in our apartment. We started training people to lead Discovery Bible Studies, and then we're doing it with non-Christians. And then we pass that on to those Christians to lead the non-Christians. And I don't know, that was just a thrilling time. I enjoyed it so much being there. It felt like that's what I was created to do.
And Paul, what did you feel was most fulfilling for you during your 2 years in Japan?
Well, for me, being with the Japanese people in their context, in their country, in their culture, seeing them as they really are, and just through building friendships and contacts, seeing the advance of the gospel, trying to ease them into local churches, and just a variety of ways of again, advancing the gospel by doing whatever ministries and service and activities that presented themselves.
Oh, good. Yeah. So were there any memorable or funny experiences in Japan?
Yes, we had a few. One of them I can tell you about. It was a Saturday morning, and we were looking for an address. I think we may have been trying to find a Christian bookstore, which is hard to find in Japan, but they do exist. And we couldn't find the address as we walked through that part of town. So I decided, well, I'll ask someone. And the first person that came along turns out, a salaryman, which is the Japanese term for a business office worker. Unfortunately, what I didn't know was he had been out all Friday night at the bar, and he was not yet sober. Asking him for help didn't gain much traction. But being Japanese, he immediately felt obligated to help us and to succeed in this. So he kept trying to help us find the address, but we got nowhere for that way. We thanked him and tried to disengage. We went the opposite direction around the corner, only to find he had gone around the other corner, ran right into him again, and he continued to try to help us find the address. And we again had to struggle to disengage politely from his attempts to help us. And although he didn't show us the address, we eventually found it. But we've somewhat distressed, somewhat amused, but we wanted to be polite and not show that to him. So it was a comedy of errors.
Yeah, we couldn't.
Yes.
There's another story. We were coming home one night to our apartment in Kobe, and we're just in this one area, just going up the street to our apartment. And there's two police coming down the hill with a bamboo stick and chasing a pig. And this is in the city. And they were trying, I don't know what they're trying to do to the pig, but they were actually ending up chasing him to a really busy street. So I was kind of afraid they're going to start an accident. But this pig came running towards me. So I just opened up my umbrella really fast to look big in front of the pig so he wouldn't attack me or anything. It was kind of amusing to see at the time.
Did the pig turn aside or go the other way?
Yeah, it went down the street, down the busy street, but it didn't run in the street. So we're happy for that.
It didn't run into you.
No.
Oh, good. Well, how in your ministry, how have you partnered with Alderwood Community Church?
Oh, well, we've partnered in various ways and are very thankful that we have been able to. One of the ways is to see students we're working with at Talk Time or ICF actually attend church, and several are attending at various times. And so seeing that they're hearing the gospel, or if they're new believers, they're growing in their faith. Alderwood has also been a gracious host for activities such as an ISI, International Students Inc. banquet, and ICF for a couple years while we were in Japan. So being willing to host, being there for students has been a great help to our ministry, a blessing to see that we have a channel to direct them to for growth, and so it's just been very satisfactory in every way that we've had this relationship.
Yeah, they've also hosted for the Compassion Center. So when we were able to get back together with the pandemic, it was nice to have a place to hold ICF that was a little more spacious than our living room. So we appreciate that.
Yeah.
Good. Well, we've enjoyed our time with you this morning, and thank you for sitting with us for this interview. And anything you'd like to add before we finish? Okay.
Think of anything, but thank you.
Okay,
Nice
thank
opportunity
you,
to
Liz
share.
and Paul.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Mhm.
Bye now.
Bye.